welcome back to some Blood Crest Manor content. Today we're going to be taking some time to answer a very important question. Is Facebook Marketplace worth it? So today what I'm going to do is I'm just going to break down some of these different deals that I've gotten off Marketplace, and we'll take some time to say, was it worth it or was it not? We're also going to talk about some of the safety concerns relating to Facebook Marketplace, some of the people you meet, and how to tell if you're dealing with someone who has a good bit of experience or if you're dealing with someone who is very new to it and can be a little sketchy. In my experience, I haven't had a ton of those moments. I've done a lot of deals on Facebook Marketplace, but the reason I don't think I've had as many bad stories as I could have is because I took the time to research each individual out. And building this haunted house, I've really wanted to make it to where I've saved as much money as possible to make the haunt as good as it can be. And Marketplace has definitely been an avenue to help make that reality come true. So without further ado, let's go look at a couple of other of our Facebook Marketplace deals. Alright everyone, so the first deal we're going to break down is one that I made really recently. And this is a 2018 yard machine. Basically, it's like the Walmart lawnmower. And as you can see, it is in really, really good shape. The story behind this is that this was belonging to someone, the guy bought it from his brother-in-law, and he didn't use it but to cut like a very small yard that he had in front of like his trailer, and that was all he cut. And as you can see, it looks really, really good. Now, one could easily say, well, he could have just pressure washed it. But with that being said, you don't see any scratches, you don't see any dings. All the pieces look really clean. So to me, that really just reads that the machine didn't see a ton of use like he was saying it had. So we've done some tests with her already and shown that it cuts really, really well. In fact, it cuts better than the one we currently have over at where I live. So we're really happy with this. It cost $300 to buy this. And to me, that is a really, really good deal. I had to jump on it really fast. On Marketplace, lawnmowers go like fire. They're there one day and the next they're gone. So when you see a deal like this, you gotta have to move fast. But once again, once I looked at the guy's profile, it was just like an older gentleman, family guy who had a bunch of stuff on Marketplace, and it was a very reputable guy. Once I got there, he was super nice, and it all went really well. Most of the time, I try to talk down my items as much as I can, but this guy was firm at $300, and I don't blame him one bit. $300 for this is a really, really good deal, and I'm very happy with it. Now, like I said, this is a newer buy. I could jump on this tomorrow and it poop out on me, and that's it. And if it did, I would then look back at you and say, well, I guess it wasn't a good deal. For this to make up the $300 cost that I got in it, I would at least expect it to pull 1 to 2 summers of cutting. If it can do that for me, then I've definitely made a great deal and it's done what it's supposed to do. However, I would love to see this thing make it a very, very long distance. So I'm going to do my best to take care of it as great as I can. But around here at Blood Crest Manor, things get put to work. So we'll see how she does, and I'll let you know later if I still think it was a good deal. But for right now, today, it was a great deal. So let's go on to the next one. Alright, so for our next deal, again, this is more of a recent buy that I got. This is something that we have to have moving forward in the haunt, and that is a air compressor. What really drew me to this was the size of the tank, and it has a dual line hookup. So I'm going to have a few air cannons in this haunted house, and basically they're called ankle blasters, however you want to name them. But basically these cannons have to be fed air continually, and so you need a pretty good machine to do it. So this was a decent buy for me. I got it off Marketplace after I talked them down a little bit to $130. $130 for this is a really, really good deal. Now, the guy I got it from, he wanted to do all of his talking and all of the communication over the phone. That happens from time to time, especially your older crowd. But I didn't have much of an issue with it. Went out to his place. He was a really nice guy, really nice old gentleman. And we got it, and that was it. He ran basically a continual yard sale at his house. He has like a bunch of stuff that he's selling, but it's like every weekend he's doing it. So it had a price tag on it and everything. But anyway, so this deal again, it's on the newer side, so it hasn't really done the job yet. So it's hard for me to sit here and say yes, it was worth it. But on face value, the machine works really well. It or the engine on top works really well. It holds air really nice, and so far the few times I've used it, it's really good. But all right, everyone. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Woo! For the next deal we're going to be looking at, this is my four-wheeler that I got once we moved here to Illinois. Before I even knew I was going to be doing a haunted house or anything like that, I got this just because of the area I live in, and I kind of needed it. But this is a 2007 Yamaha Grizzly 450 4x4 four-wheeler. Now, the reason I liked this so much when I got it is because of the story that went with it. It only had like 740 miles on it. 740 hours on it, yeah. And the story behind it goes is that it belonged to this older gentleman who sold fruits and vegetables out of like a cart that he'd put on the back of it in a small town. And he would just use the four-wheeler to drive it over to where he'd sell it and then drive it back, and for some small yard jobs. So the amount of hours that it had is really, really low for the year that it is. So the hours really back up the story of that it was really lightly used. And it looked it too once we got it. So I've gotten a little bit of good use out of it. I got it right there about 2019, and we've had it since then. So about 5 years of use on it. This I got for $3,000. I felt like that is a really, really good deal for the unit that it is, plus just the limited amount of work that it's seen. So with that being said, this has definitely been a good deal. It's definitely done me a lot of good service and effort so far. And this would be one of the deals that I would look at you and say, absolutely glad that I did this. It has done a lot for me. But without further ado, let's go ahead and look at the next one. Ooh. All right, everyone. So now for one of our newer deals again. This is a Agri-Farm Yard Roller 36-inch. I haven't had the ability to quite use this yet, but for what I need it for, I'm pretty solid. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a really good deal. This is going to be mainly used over here in the parking lot area, just to try to make sure that the grass is as flat as possible once it comes time for people to come parking. And once it comes time for also when we get gravel in this barn, we can use it also to kind of compact that down so it ain't so loose. So this is going to have a couple jobs around here primarily. I could see it being used for a couple other things, but other than that, it's going to be a really niche item that's only used for a few things. So with that being said, this was a really good deal. Again, I got this from somebody who basically does a yard sale a lot throughout the year. And so they buy items like this and then they resell them for a profit. But all right, everyone, so on to the next one. All right, everyone, so now for one of my favorite, if not my favorite deal that I've made on Marketplace. And that is all this plywood you see here. We found someone who was basically, he's like an hour and a half away from us, and he sells these pieces of plywood. We paid on average $1 a piece, and we went back there twice, and the second time we went there he had a big stack that had some nails in it, and he sold us all of that for 50 cents a piece. And what you see here is the combination of two trips going out there getting it. Super nice guy. One of the nicest people I've ever met on Marketplace, maybe ever just dealing with people, period. He was a really, really nice guy. Gave us a super deal on this, was super helpful, very nice, very kind, and I hope to do much more business with him as I go forward. If I ever need more wood of any kind, plywood included, I'm going to go hit him up first. We've already started using this. We have it separated out into two piles. This enormous pile right here is plywood that is thick enough to use as flooring. So all of this is like 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch, and it is just really, really thick, good plywood. This stuff down here on the bottom, this is all thinner plywood, so I'm going to be using it for like siding, walling, stuff like that. But after you look at just how much plywood is today, like for an 8x4 piece of plywood, or OSB like we used in the house on the walls, the cost of that is significantly higher than this is. Now this is a little bit more effort to mess with because it's all small pieces and you have to piece it together. But with that being said, it is beyond worth it. And in fact, this is probably the best deal that I've made so far on Marketplace, yard sales included, at all. This is just an amazing, amazing deal. And it's going to see all sorts of uses and utilization in the haunt, in the waiting area, and who knows where else. I'm probably going to end up being able to build other buildings moving forward using this plywood. Super good deal, super nice guy. He even was so nice that when we went to strap this onto our trailer, he was like, well, you're using some small straps. Why don't you use these? Big old giant straps. He gave us 2 of these. And these straps are really, really good, and they're really nice straps. And he just gave us to him. He just gave these to us. He's a super nice guy. You couldn't ask for someone better to do business with. So with that being said, this one is definitely the deal to look at, in my opinion. Of all the ones we've made, value-wise, this one saved us the most money, without question. But all right, everyone, so let's go ahead and go look at another one of our really good deals. So for the next deal we'll want to talk to you guys about, it's these poles right here. I ended up getting 28 of these poles. They're really a thick metal, and inside of it is concrete. So these are really heavy, and they're really structured. They are about as tough as they come. And I got 28 of these for 20 bucks. That's right, 28 of these posts for 20 bucks. The guy met us there on time. We got them, picked them all up. Very heavy, like I said, but more than worth it. And we used all these for our fence. We still have some of them left. I'm going to end up using them somewhere else along the way. But all of them are going to get utilized. And for just 20 bucks, we were able to get all this done. Now, before the plywood, I would have told you this was the best deal we made. And I still stand by this being one of the best deals you could ever hope to make when messing with Facebook Marketplace. And the only thing about this I would look back on and say was kind of difficult was that on a deal this good, you have to move really fast. So even if it's like middle of the week and you see it and you're just getting done with work, it's the kind of thing you just got to put in the time and go get it. Other than that, everyone, let's go ahead and go look at another deal. All right, everyone, so we had to take a trip down to the basement to get this next one for you, but I definitely didn't want to go on without making sure we went over this one. This is a dehumidifier unit we got. It's Henson. Yep, I think that's how you pronounce it. And it is basically a $200 unit, and we got it for $100. And we got it brand new. And it comes with a pump and a decent reservoir size. And this is how we have addressed the dampness issue in the basement. And for the most part, it does the job pretty well. This unit was a really good deal. 50% off retail price, brand new. Can't really beat that. It runs on a continual motion as long as it isn't freezing outside. And with that being said, I had to have it. It was a great deal, and I'd definitely do it again. So without further ado, let's go ahead and move on to our last deal to talk about. All right, everyone. So now we're at the final item of our Facebook Marketplace experiences so far, and that is Esther the tractor. If you've been keeping up with the episodes so far, you have seen us already talk about Esther and work on Esther a few times. This is a 1949 9N tractor being powered by a solar panel. And no, the solar panel did not come with it. I ended up getting this tractor for $2,500, and that was the tractor and getting it delivered. Now we're going to come down to the question of, was it worth it? And the question of was it worth it is kind of a hard one to answer. Yes, it was in some regards, and no, it wasn't in others. It could crap out on you any day. But the reason I went with this over not is because I was convinced it could do the job, and all it had to do was do better than the rental costs that I would have incurred for getting one rented and delivered here. Getting one rented, delivered with a bush hog here was going to cost about $800 a day. And so I decided, as long as I was able to get a tractor and get it and use it and even sell it if I had to, as long as I was underneath like 3 or 4 uses of that tractor, I would be fine. And so that's why I went with Esther, and thankfully she has produced us with more than 3 or 4 services. I've used Esther many times. But with that being said, I've had many issues with Esther. First, the fan belt gave out. And because of how this tractor is built, it was going to be a complete surgery just to get this new fan belt put in. And so thankfully I was able to work around it with an adjustable fan belt. But then we also had an issue with the alternator and keeping power to it. So we couldn't keep power to it. We changed out the alternator once, we changed it out again, and eventually we just came to the conclusion that something is wrong with the wiring of Esther. And so I went with a solar panel. The solar panel continuously charges it as long as it's sunny, and it keeps it going pretty good. So that fixed that problem. It was a headache, but it was a fixed problem. Then now we are having this issue with the spark. So we've already changed out the distributor on it. We're going to be getting new spark plugs and wires next because that didn't fix it. But this is also just the one of the more recent issues we've had with Esther. So I'm thinking that Esther is kind of coming, its job around here is coming to an end. I'm thinking once we get Esther running again, we're going to go ahead and get the field cut one last good time with it, and then I'm thinking about getting her sold. But right now, everyone, so would I say Esther is worth it? I would at this moment. Even if I couldn't get Esther going again right now, I could at least, even on a bad day, sell it for at least $1,000 online with this bucket. So right now, I would tell you that Esther was worth it, but it came with a lot of issues. And if I could go back and do it differently, I probably would. I probably would have said being more patient on the tractor would have done me better than dealing with all the issues I have with Esther. All right, everyone. So now we're going to go ahead and start talking about the safety aspect of Facebook Marketplace, which is a glaring issue for some people when messing with it on their first go. Facebook Marketplace and things like Craigslist, where you're meeting strangers to buy something from them, is inherently, or can be inherently, dangerous. You want to make sure that you're dealing with good people when you're going to buy something from them, and or to sell something to someone as well. This is a two-way street. I have definitely heard horror stories of both ways, of people getting in bad situations because they didn't take the time to properly vet who they were doing business with. And now, most of the time, if you're getting something off Facebook Marketplace and you can meet the individual in public for it, a smaller item typically, then that's exactly what you want to do. You want to meet them in a public place. Typically, like, some police stations will actually allow you to like meet people like in situations like this to buy things, but you can also go to any public place, and just, it's a lot safer that way than going to someone's house or having someone come to your house. Now, in my situation though, almost everything I've ever bought on Facebook Marketplace was at someone's house, including things I've sold on Facebook Marketplace, which were at my house. And the reason is because the size of the items that I'm buying is too large typically to meet someone in public and test it properly. The only item I can sit here and think top of my head that I got off Facebook Marketplace in public was the four-wheeler. But some of the things I do to make sure I'm dealing with decent people is I look at their profile when I look at the item. So you found a good item, it's got a good price. The first thing you want to do is like just look at who's selling it. Like if you go to their profile and it shows where they're just selling one item and they don't have a Facebook profile picture and the account was just created this year, then you're probably looking at a problem. Being patient will save you from being in a lot of bad situations. Look into somebody. If you look at their profile and it says they made their profile 10 years ago and they've sold 10, 20 items and have some good reviews, then there's a good chance going to this individual's home isn't going to be a problem. My overall answer of, is Facebook Marketplace worth it? Absolutely. You will find some great deals online. That's no question. More than 50% off sometimes. In fact, sometimes you'll see someone giving something away that's worth having for you. But once again, I can't stress enough, just be careful out there. There are bad people out there, and bad people are going to do bad things. So with that being said, always do your best to make sure you're doing business with good people, and then you'll make sure you have good deals too. But all right, everyone, so let me know what you thought of the episode in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps us out, and I'll be talking to you here next time. Ooh.